Chapter 1 on Equality. Equality in Indian democracy. The Indian Constitution recognizes every person as equal. This means that every individual in the country, including male and female persons from all castes, religion, tribes, educational, and economic backgrounds, are recognized as equal. This is not to say that inequality ceases to exist. It doesn't. But at least in democratic India, the principle of the equality of all persons is recognized. While earlier, no law existed to protect the people from discrimination and ill treatment, now there are several that work to see that people are treated with dignity and as equals. This recognition of equality includes some of the following provisions in the Constitution. First, that every person is equal before the law. What this means is that every person, from the president of the country to Kanta, a domestic worker, has to obey the same laws, right? Then, second, no person can be discriminated against on the basis of their religion, race, caste, place of birth, or whether they are male or female. Third, every person has access to all public places including playgrounds, hotels, shops and markets. All persons can use publicly available wells, roads and bathing ghats. Fourth, untouchability has been abolished. Now see here this description of this figure. In the 1975 film Diwar, a boy who works as a shoe shine refuses to pick up a coin thrown at him. He feels that there is dignity in the work that he does and insists that his fee be given respectfully. This means that there is no one is small if he is doing a shoe shine business, if he is a cobbler. Everyone should be given dignity, everyone should be given respect, irrespective of their occupation they are doing. Okay? The next page. The two ways in which the government has tried to implement the equality that is guaranteed in the Constitution is first through laws and then second through government programs or schemes to help disadvantaged communities. There are several laws in India that protect every person's right to be treated equally. In addition to laws, the government has also set up several schemes to improve the lives of communities and individuals who have been treated unequally for several centuries. These schemes are to ensure greater opportunity for people who have not had this in the past. See, this is a picture of the parliament. Parliament is the cornerstone of our democracy and we are represented in it through our elected representatives. Now I am here. One of the steps taken by the government includes the midday meal scheme. This refers to the program introduced in all government elementary schools to provide children with cooked lunch. Okay, so this is the definition of midday meal scheme, and then this is an example here from Tamil Nadu. Okay, so Tamil Nadu was the first state in India to introduce this scheme, and in 2001 the Supreme Court asked all state governments to begin this program in their schools within 6 months. This program has had many positive effects. Now, what were the positive effects? Let's read. These include the fact that more poor children have begun enrolling and regularly attending school. Teachers reported that earlier children would often go home for lunch and then they will not return to school, but now with the midday meal scheme being provided in school, their attendance has improved. Then their mothers who earlier had to interrupt their work to feed their children at home during the day now no longer need to do so. So they can go to their work freely. Then this program has also reduced caste prejudices because children of all castes in the school eat this meal together, and in quite a few places Dalit women have been employed to cook the meal. The midday meal program also helped reduce the hunger of poor students who often come to school and cannot concentrate because their stomachs are empty. While government programs play an important role in increasing equality of opportunity, there is much that still needs to be done. While the midday meal program has helped increase the enrollment and attendance of the poor children in school, there continues to be big differences in our country between schools that the rich attend and those that the poor attend. Even today, there are several schools in the country in which Dalit children are discriminated against and treated unequally. These children are forced into unequal situations in which their dignity is not respected. This is because people refuse to think of them as equal even though the law requires it. Now see here this picture. Here, children being served their midday meal at a government school in Uttarakhand. Now I am here. One of the main reasons for this is that Attitudes change very slowly. Changes come very slowly, but they come finally, okay? Even though persons are aware that discrimination is against the law, they continue to treat people unequally on the basis of their caste, religion, disability, economic status, and because they are women. It is only when people begin to believe that no one is inferior and that every person deserves to be treated with dignity that person attitudes can change. Establishing equality in a democratic society is a continuous struggle and one in which individuals as well as various communities in India contribute to, and you will read more about in this book. Next topic, issues of equality in other democracies. Now, you are probably wondering whether India is the only democratic country in which there is inequality and where the struggle for equality continues to exist. No, the truth is that in many democratic countries around the world, the issue of equality continues to be the key issue around which communities struggle. So, for example, in the United States of America, the African Americans whose ancestors were the slaves who were brought over from Africa continue to describe their lives today as largely unequal. This despite the fact that there was a movement in the late 1950s to push for equal rights for African Americans. Prior to this, African Americans were treated extremely unequally in the United States and denied equality through law. For example, when traveling by bus, they either had to sit on the back of the bus or get up from the seat whenever a white person wished to sit. Now, there is an example here. Rosa Parks, 1913 to 2005, was an African American woman. Tired from a long day at work, she refused to give up a seat on a bus to a white man on 1st December 1955. Her refusal that day started a huge agitation against the unequal ways in which African Americans were treated and which came to be known as the Civil Rights Movement. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibited discrimination on the basis of race, religion, or national origin. So, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibited discrimination on the basis of race, religion, or national origin. It also stated that all schools would be open to African American children and they would no longer have to attend separate schools specially set up for them. Okay, so children, please learn all these years, the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and then this Rosa Parks. Okay, and then come here on the right hand side. Let's read this. B.R. Ambedkar. This is B.R. Ambedkar, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. It is disgraceful to live at the cost of one's self-respect. Self-respect is the most vital factor in life. Without it, man is a cipher. To live worthily with self-respect, one has to overcome difficulties. It is out of hard and ceaseless struggle alone that one derives strength, confidence, and recognition. Man is mortal. Everyone has to die someday or the other, but one must resolve to lay down one's life in enriching the noble ideas of self-respect and in bettering one's human life. Nothing is more disgraceful for a brave man than to live life devoid of self-respect. By B.R. Ambedkar. See, this is Rosa Parks, an African American woman who changed the course of American history with one defined act. Now I am here. However, despite this, a majority of African Americans continue to be among the poorest in the country. Most African American children can only afford to attend government schools that have fewer facilities and poorly qualified teachers as compared to white students who either go to private schools or live in areas where the government schools are as highly rated as private schools. Challenge of democracy. No country can be described as being completely democratic. There are always communities and individuals trying to expand the idea of democracy and push for a greater recognition of equality on existing as well as new issues. Central to this is the struggle for recognition of all persons as equal and for the dignity to be maintained. So in this book we will read about how this issue of equality affects various aspects of our daily lives in democratic India. As you read these chapters, think about whether the equality of all persons and their being able to maintain their dignity is upheld. Now let's read this blue box excerpt from Article 15 of the Indian Constitution. Prohibition of discrimination on grounds of religion, race, caste, sex or place of birth. Number 1. The state shall not discriminate against any citizen on grounds of only of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth or any of them. Then 2. No citizen shall, on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth or any of them, be subject to any disability, liability, restriction or condition with regard to A. Access to shops, public restaurants, hotels and places of public entertainment, or B. The use of wells, tanks, bathing guards, roads, and places of public resort maintained wholly or partially or partly out of state funds or dedicated to the use of the general public. So you have to learn this excerpt from Article 15, this box. Okay. Now here we come to the end of this chapter. And before ending, let's read the glossary. These definitions are very important. Universal adult franchise. This is very important aspect of democratic societies. It means that all adults, those who are 18 and above citizens, have the right to vote irrespective of their social or economic backgrounds. Then dignity. What is dignity? This refers to thinking of oneself and other persons as worthy of respect, that they deserve respect. Okay. Constitution. This is a document that lays down the basic rules and regulations for people and the government in the country to follow. Civil rights movement. A movement that began in USA in 1950s, in which African American people demanded equal rights and an end to racial discrimination. The example of Rosa Parks. So now this is the end of the chapter. Thank you.